gather today, and just, be in fellowship with one another, Father, to learn about you, to examine each other, to examine ourselves, to build each other up, Father, and to just, walk according to that which you have implemented for Yahshua, Lord, Father, to live by every word that proceeds out of your mouth, Father. We ask you to forgive us of any of our iniquities, any of our shortcomings, individually, of our household, of our nation, as well as our forefathers, Father, and ask you to have compassion upon us, Father. Have mercy upon your people. We know there's so much going on, Father. Our people are still waking up. Still, you know, some of us still trying to get it right, still trying to, do what is right in your sight, Father. And then, there's others, Father, we just don't know. So, but only you know, Father. And we just pray that you would just continually have compassion upon your people, to not lay these things to charge, Father. We pray that you would just be in the midst of us today as we fellowship, as we build, as we talk, as we just continue to seek you, Father, continue to keep our eyes on the prize, continue to look to the hills from where our help comes, knowing that our help comes from you, Father. We just continue to lift up and offer up to you the widows, the orphans, the sick, the grieving, Father, those who are wrongfully in prison, all of those of our people who continue to go through, heinous things, Father, around the world. We just lift them all up to you, Father, and just pray that, there will be a supernatural hope, Father, a hope that looks to you, Father, a hope that cries out unto you, Father. And I pray that our cries reach unto you on one accord. And just as you heard the cries of our people in Egypt, Father, that you will hear our cries even now, Father, remembering the covenant between with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Father, and that you will not make haste, that you will make haste, to rescue us from these bondages of Egypt and the sin and transgression that beset us. Avenge us of our adversaries, confound them in their own devices, and that you continue to make us to know you, make us to know your precepts, that we are found worthy to stand before you, and worthy to be hidden in the day of tribulation, Abba. So, Father, as we, go forward, we just pray that you be in the midst. Pray that we decrease, that you may be increased. Pray that we subdue all of our understandings, Father, that you will reveal to us your words of life. In your most holy name, and for Mashiach, Yahushua, Amen. All praises. All praises, all praises, all praises. All right, family, we're going to go ahead and, 1 second. We're going to go ahead now and offer up a little praise to the Most High. First song is one a lot of us know, Lorvin's All Praise to You. And after that, there's a short little interlude of Psalm 86, verses 11 and 12. All right. Let's see. Let me go ahead and go ahead. Oops. Yeah, clear those songs. All right. So now we can go ahead and get started. All praises to the Most High for these songs, and we can praise the Most High with. All right. So Shalom fam, once again, pray all is well. Pray everyone had a beautiful, beautiful week. Again, as I said earlier, I know a lot is going on within the nation. We know a lot's going on in the world, and a lot's going on within the nation. We know that we're living in the last days. The birth pains ramping up, and a lot going on with Yasharal. Basically, according to what the word says, right? I know my man C Love, he always reads, but actually past few weeks I think he's been reading from Revelations 12, where it speaks about the adversary sending out a flood against Yasharal, and here we are, so there's a lot going on. Of course, as we always say, stay the course, right? Stay the course. So today, I just want to build with y'all. And before I even go there, I had a conversation with someone. I just want everyone, again, one of the reasons why we call it the living room is so that we can come, we can talk, we can just chill, we can build. I don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable. Again, we invite, the comments, we invite questions, we invite, your insight, perspectives, and, don't ever feel challenge, and some of those, like I said, some of those insights and some of those, questions, and I mean, some of those the comments and things like that, they'll be met with questions, things like that. And it's not to challenge anybody. Questions not meant to challenge anybody. Questions are meant to, extract a little bit more information and to, make sure everyone's on the same page and, just to build, it's not meant to, challenge anyone. We're not here, we're not in, college or school or anything like that. We're here to respect, each and every one, right? We're all in the same boat. We're just trying to build to get towards the kingdom. So I don't want anyone to feel afraid to speak or whatever the case may be. If you have a question, if you have a comment, whatever, just, let it out. Let it out. There was a scripture I had in mind, but I'll leave it. But anyway, so with that, like I said, just feel like we're in the living room. You may be in your own living room, but if you were here in our living room, the Most High has always given us like an open door policy when it comes to even you were in our living room. Look, we make you feel right at home. So just please feel right at home as we build. But anyway, I just want to talk about the struggle, and there's comments made last week, and there's comments made actually even way prior to that, from family members and things of that nature, people that I've known to be in church for so long and read the Bible and things of that nature, which is crazy to me that, they would say, is it really all about the word? Is it really all about, is everything the word? Is everything the word? And when I first heard it, it was from someone that's dear to me, that that's in church, been in church in my yards, and it's I'm sitting there like, what do you mean? Is it really about the word? That's what we have. That's all we have. What is there? What is the alternative, right? What is the alternative? Like we know the Bibles that we have, we know they've been tampered with, things of that nature. We know that, right? But until the Most High reveals something else, that's what we have. And I believe the foundations, the crux of what we need is still found in that book. Just my personal belief. I don't know if anybody else feels, something different. But I truly believe the foundations, the crux of what we need, the bones is right there in that book. The Most High did not hide everything from us. He gave us, he's given us just enough to be able to get ourselves back to him, right? We didn't need to find him. He's always been there. We just had to have the scales removed from our eyes. We just had to, had these dry bones, live again, with his Ruach, with his spirit. So still there. But what is the alternative to, to the word? I personally don't know what that is. Because how else do you know to live Chodash? How else do you know to live set apart from this construct, from the nations, from captivity? From how else do you know how to live, quote unquote, righteously, right? Or according to the ways of the Most High, according to Shemaim? How else do you know that, if you don't have the word? So just a little thought in it. And like I said, if you agree, disagree, if you disagree or whatever, chime in, please. I believe a lot of the struggle, and like I said, I'm no authority on anything. I'm not a psychiatrist, psychologist, or whatever you want to call it. I'm no authority. I'm just, another brother, just trying to, lean towards the prize. But I believe that we look at everything, we tend to measure everything by the influence and perception of the world. Okay? I in everything that we do, even now, being awakened and all, I think we still tend to measure every single thing by the influence and perception of the world. And so when, certain things don't work out or things don't go as planned or whatever the case may be, we tend to get jacked up, right? And then say, oh, the word ain't working, or I don't know. I'm kind of like all over the place with it, and I pray that y'all hear my heart on this, because I'm very passionate about this. But all and everything that we have, even like your certain desires that you have, right? Um, the desires that we tend to have, the plans that we make, isn't it based on, you know, how we've grown up, how what we've learned in this world? I mean, like I said, if there's anybody that disagrees, please let me, But I think like a lot of the desires and a lot of the things that, the plans that we make and everything is based on how we've grown up, the things that we've been taught, our perception of the world and what we're supposed to basically attain in this life, in this world, the things that we have to do before we die. There's still that mentality, that YOLO mentality. You only live once, and every single thing is anchored on the on how we've grown up and what we've been taught in this world. And I think when you try to when you're trying to fit in to the world's way of thinking or acclimate yourself to to worldly beliefs, and then still try to you know do what's right in the sight of the Most High, the two don't mix. They don't mix. And and this is my person. Like I said, this is me, Myron. I think this is where a lot of people are getting tripped up. And I know, you know, somebody may say, well, all we have is this. All we have is, being here in this world, and this now, whatever. However, the Most High, as far as Yahshua is concerned, and for those who will cleave and, and take heed to what's taking place here, um, the Most High is, tells us to come up out of it, right? Be in the world, be in the world, but not of it, right? I mean, there's plenty of scripture that we can go through that tells us these things. Just be in the world, but not of it. As far as like, your thought process, your heart process, the things you hold on to, the things you hold dear to, and you know what I mean. He's telling us to truly come up out of these things. When in the study on Sundays, we speak about that ancient mindset, getting back to that ancient mindset, not removing the old landmarks, right? That's what it's about. And what are those old landmarks? What do we have? What started it is the word. It's the word. We don't know what it is to be righteous, right? Our foreparents didn't know what it was to be righteous, apart from what the Most High said. So how can we go forward without the word, right? And we have to stop measuring everything by what we've been taught, what we've been indoctrinated with, and honestly go back. We have to go back in order to move forward. And I just truly believe that's the struggle. And not saying that you won't struggle, not saying that the time, at times it won't be hard, at times it won't be arduous, at times it won't be you wanting to pull your hair out. But I believe as we, you know, try to get closer to getting back to the ancient ways, and truly, deep diving into the word, meditating in the word. When we say meditate in the word, we're talking about just really, when we read the word, speaking that word unto yourself, silently speaking that word unto yourself, getting in that place of prayer, getting in that place before the Most High, and allowing the Most High, to speak to you, not being cumbered about with so many things, but really allowing the Most High to speak to you. Again, putting yourself in a place of bareness before Him. Um, I believe it can get easier, because, we'll say, well, our forefathers didn't go through what we're going through, this and that, whatever. No, I mean, they were in captivity. They still knew themselves. You know, we're a little bit different. We didn't know ourselves, and now we're getting back to that. Um, however, a lot of them still just held on to the word of the Most High, regardless to what was before them. Facing death, facing torture, facing all of these things. They stood 10 toes down, and we just have to be the same way. So I just want to go through a couple of things. And like I said, anybody has anything, please chime in. 2 Corinthians 13:5. 2 Corinthians 13:5. Familiar scripture. Sometimes you hear me say katab. Katab reading is basically, katab is basically scripture. So 2 Corinthians 13:5, it reads, examine yourselves. And this is something that we should be doing on a daily basis as the Most High gives us breath, right? Examine yourselves to see whether you are in the faith. Examine yourself to see whether you are in the faith. Test yourself. Or do you not realize this about yourselves, that Yahushua Mashiach is in you, unless indeed you fail to meet the test? We need to be doing this. Examine yourself to see whether you are in the faith. Examine yourself to see whether you are doing what it is the Most High has for us to do. Again, we have enough. Some people, maybe what's the word I'm looking for? Are more learned than others. This now, whatever. But at the end of the day, we all have the book. We all have the book, right? We can all study, we can all meditate, and we can all, receive what the Most High is revealing, and share it with our children, and share it with our brethren and our sisters and things of that nature. So, we all need to just take a hard look in the mirror and really examine ourselves to make sure that we are doing what it is the Most High wants us to do. Again, the conclusion of the whole matter is what? Fearing the Most High, reverencing the Most High and keeping his commandments. Okay? And I like how the Septuagint words it, where it says, this is the whole man. Right? I think I have it written down. It says that this is the whole man. Hear the end of the matter, the son. Fear the Most High and keep his commandments, for this is the whole man and or woman. Okay? And that's what it's really about. So examining ourselves, making sure that we are reverencing the Most High, that we're putting the Most High first before any and everything. Making the Most High and his way the priority, right? Seeking first the kingdom and his righteousness. Making him and his righteousness and going after that, making that the entire priority. Right? So I wanted to just go over a couple of scripts in following that examining of ourselves. I don't know if I should go to Matthew or Mark. Let's do Matthew. Matthew 13. Matthew 13. Another familiar scripture goes along with this examining of ourselves. And this is, red letters, Mashiach speaking. Matthew 13, I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to read from verses 3 to 9. And this is the parable of the sower. Read from verses 3 to 9, and then I'm going to skip down 18 to 23, which is basically the explanation. But Matthew 13, verses 3 to 9. Hmm? And then 18 to 23, yeah. So Matthew 13, starting verse 3. And he told them many things in parables, saying, a sower went out to sow, and as he sowed, some seeds fell along the path, and the birds came and devoured them. Other seeds fell on rocky ground, where they did not have much soil, and immediately they sprang up, since they had no depth of soil. But when the sun rose, they were scorched. And since they had no root, they withered away. Other seeds fell among thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked them. Other seeds fell on good soil and produced grain, some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. He who has ears, let him hear. All right, and let's skip down to verse 18. 18 to 23. So this is the explanation. Hear then the parable of the sower. When anyone hears the word, hears what? The word. The word. The word. So we're not getting any wisdom in and of ourselves, right? So when anyone hears the word of the kingdom and does not understand it, the evil one comes and snatches away what has been sown in his heart. This is what was sown along the path. As for what was sown on rocky ground, this is the one who hears the word and immediately receives it with joy. Verse 21, yet he has no root in himself, but endures for a while. And when tribulation or persecution arises on account of the word, and we might say it's because the word lets you know that there's going to be afflictions, there's going to be persecutions, there's going to be these things, right? So when and you choosing to follow the Most High and not follow the world, these things are going to take place. So verse 21, yet he has no root in himself, but endures for a while. When tribulation or persecution arises on account of the word, immediately he falls away. As for what was sown among thorns, this is the one who hears the word, but the cares of the world and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and it proves unfruitful. And we know about the good soil. As for what was sown on good soil, this is the one who hears the word and understands it. He indeed bears fruit and yields, in one case 100-fold, another 60, and another 30. So what manner of soil are we? So in the examining of yourself and examining of ourselves, what manner of soil are we? And we got, when David was praying in Psalm 51, one of the things he says, the Most High desires truth on the inward part. So being truthful with oneself, and being truthful before the Most High. I always, speak about laying ourselves bare before him. What manner of soil are we? What manner of soil are you? And if it's rocky or thorny or whatever the case may be, then, we have to till that soil to get it to be fertile, right? In good soil, so that, as it's verse 23, what was sown on good soil, this is the one who hears the word, understand it, and indeed bears fruit. That's what we want. We want to bear fruit for the kingdom. Like I said, and remember, it's not an easy task. Most High never said it was going to be easy. Mashiach, he never said it was going to be easy. He never said it. But it is doable for him to tell us, that he that endures to the end, the same shall be saved. It is doable. And the kingdom of the Most High dwells within us. We have his Ruach. We have his Ruach to keep us. We have the word to guide us. If we stay the course, if we get thrown off by every single adversity, and especially if we start putting the word to the side, you start putting the word to the side and think that you can get along without it, we're sorely mistaken. Sorely mistaken. So we can't live righteously apart from the word. We can't. We don't have the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding from on high to be able to do that. Again, the scripture, right? I think it was Proverbs 14:12, right? Proverbs 14:12. There's a way which seems to be right with men, but the ends of it reach to where? The depths of hell, leads to death. And that script is so prevalent, that kitab is so prevalent, he said it twice. Because he says it again in Proverbs 16. And remember, this is was supposed to be what, Solomon. Solomon, got the wisdom from the Most High, and he was the king, and he had the wisdom of the Most High, but still, just threw the commandments of the Most High away, and with the foreign women, and building idols and all of these things for the women that he had married. And he said it. He said it in was it Ecclesiastes 1. He basically said, and I'm paraphrasing, he basically said he got off track. He said it. And now he tells you twice, there's a way that seems right to be with a man. I think in Proverbs 16:25, he says, there are ways that seem to be right to a man, but the end of them looks to the depth of hell. There are ways that seem to be right to a man. So you can go seeking your own wisdom if you want to. Just like that, what they say in the world, you make your bed, you got to do what? You got to lie in it. And it all leads to death. I don't want that for myself. I don't want that for my family. I don't want that for y'all. It's the way of the Most High. It's the word of the Most High, or nothing. We cannot do anything. If you say you love the Most High and you're not keeping His commandments, what does the text say? What does it say? I think it says you are a liar and the truth is not in you. You're a liar and the truth is not in you. Let's read this real quick. 1 Timothy chapter 6, 3-5. So again, I know we live in the world, and there's this things we've picked up in this captivity, that go against the very nature of Shemayim, the very nature of heaven, the very nature of the Most High. But we have to shake these things off. A lot of the traditions, everything is rooted in paganism, y'all. We are in the lands of our captivity, whether it be here in America, whether it be in the Caribbean, whether it be overseas in Europe, in Africa, and wherever we're in the lands of our enemies. Isn't that what the text says? That He was going to scatter us to the four corners of the earth, and our enemies will be over us. Our enemies will be over us. We're in the land of our enemies. So what influence do you think is going to be in place? What perspectives are going to be highlighted? So we got to push past all of that and go back to our ancient way of thinking that the Most High is revealing to us. We have to, and if we want to live, because honestly, if we think that we're living now, man, if you call this living, I don't know. And again, I understand, some of us, we may be living okay, maybe have, good jobs and got some money in the pocket, and, going on vacations, and we doing this and we doing that. But we're not living. We're not living. We're not living. It was supposed to be the case with us where the Most High had provided. He gave us the earth. He said He made the world for our sakes. Okay, we weren't working 9 to 5s. Even just think about this. Even after Adam, Adam and Hawa, Eve, ate the fruit, right? And sin came up into the world and things like that. He said, yeah, you're gonna, eat by. I'm not paraphrasing. Eat by the sweat of your brow, right? Basically, you're gonna have to till the land now. Things are just not going to be provided for you anymore. You're just going to have to, you're going to have to till the land. You're going to have to, do some work, till the land, being an agriculturalist now and plant, your food and things of that. That was the crux of our work. That was the most of the work that we were doing. You weren't working no 9 to 5s and this and that. So when you look at it, the arduous work, the tedious work, the hard work, in labor was when? Anybody? When were we doing the real hard, the real hard, tedious work? When were we doing it? Hmm? When we disobeyed. When we disobeyed. When we got sent into, captivity. Right? Now, granted, Egypt was a little bit different, right? We just, there's a Pharaoh that did not know Yahweh Joseph and, put our people in captivity, right? So, but from that point on, after that, when we disobeyed and we went into captivity, that's when we were doing work and working to build up these other nations. That's when the work came, when we were working, when we were in disobedience to the Most High.
Yeah, I mean the Most High gave us. Hey, the Most High had given us everything, man. When you read it, when you
Everything.
read in the text, man, they was carrying the grapes over their shoulders, man. They had like two or three of them carrying the grapes,
Come on now.
and the land that we was in is clearly the best land in the world. Right there in the middle of the map. The Bible calls it the center of the earth, and you can tell that they fighting over it now because of where it is. So like you said, some people feel as though we winning now. Now we still in these chains, because we had it all.
That's right. Exactly. He said he made the world for your sakes. Think about that. Had it all. And C Love just spoke about, the grapes that we used to carry. These grapes are huge. Bob said the grapes are huge. And we had them in abundance. We had it in abundance. We had everything in abundance. But we gave it up. Why? Looking over the fence. Looking at and seeing what everybody else had, or whatever what everyone else was doing. And for us, the Most High wasn't enough. Thinking the grass was greener on the other side. And the grass is actually green where you water it, right? So let's read this real quick. And again, this is again for those who think that we can do anything apart from the word. So 1 Timothy 6, verses 3 to 5. And this all goes along with just the examining of ourselves and understanding what manner of soil are we and what manner of, if we're not there yet, are we tilling that soil to get it fertile, to get it to be good ground. 1 Timothy 6, 3 to 5. And again, this is for those who feel that we can do anything apart from the word. And I always say, yes, it's not in every situation where talking, I would say, is needed. And maybe that's what some people mean, where talking is needed. But we're going to go over it. It's more than just talk. It's more than just talk, right? But anyway, 1 Timothy 6, 3 to 5 says, if anyone teaches, and this is 1 Timothy 3 6, 3 to 5. If anyone teaches a different doctrine and does not agree with the sound words of our Adonai, our master, Yahweh Shai Mashiach, and the teaching that accords with godliness, okay, so talking about the scripts, right, the word. So again, if anyone teaches a different doctrine and does not agree with the sound words of our Adonai, our master, Yahweh Shai Mashiach, and the teaching that accords with godliness, okay, verse 4, he is puffed up with conceit and understands nothing. So if you don't take heed or agree with sound words and the teachings that accord with righteousness or godliness or to the word of the Most High, says he is puffed up with conceit and understands nothing. He has an unhealthy craving for controversy, for quarrels about words, which produce envy, dissension, okay, or discord, slander, evil suspicions, and constant friction among people who are depraved in mind and depraved of the truth, deprived of the truth, excuse me, imagining that godliness is a means of gain. And what that means is you're thinking that gain is godliness. You're thinking that having stuff is a form of godliness. Now, what does that sound like? It sounds like the very construct we live in, does it? Okay? Go over it again. If anyone teaches a different doctrine, does not agree with the sound words of our Adonai, Yahushua Mashiach, and the teachings that accord with godliness or righteousness, he is puffed up with conceit, understands nothing. He has an unhealthy craving for controversy, for quarrels about words, okay, always debating and all that stuff, which produce envy, dissension, okay, discord, slander, evil suspicions, and constant friction among people who are depraved in mind and deprived of the truth, imagining that basically gain is godliness. It's the very construct we live in. That is the construct we live in. So to say that, we can get along without the word, or we can do things without the word, that's the construct we live in. That's what we were sent to. That's what we're cursed of. We're the Most High say he's scattering us among the nations, right? Foolish nations and all of these. This is what all of that is made up of. When, so to say that, we don't need the word, or this is what you have right here. This is what you have. Controversy, quarrels, debating, envy, strife, dissension, slander, evil suspicions, constant friction among the people. This is the construct we live in, a construct that does not revere the Most High. But yet we have some that says the word is not enough. I don't know. I shrug my shoulders to it. So this is one of my favorites. This is one of my favorite songs. Probably one of my favorite scripts in the entire, in all the scripts really. And I personally, this is me. I personally, view it as almost like a template of what it is we should be doing. Even now, it's a template of what we should be doing right now. Just dispelling all of the noise and all of the, all the outside noise and all of the things in the world, and just really just being concentrated on the Most High. Some people say, well, it's hard to be concentrated on the Most High, and there's too many distractions, this, that, or whatever. There was always distractions. As long as Hasatan, is the prince of this world, there's always going to be distractions. There's always going to be there. There's always going to be some type of stumbling block to try to make you stumble and fall. What are we going to do? Just look at it and be like, oh, woe is me, and pity ourselves? And no. We have to keep it pushing. I mean, the prize I'm trying to get is like I said, it's everlasting. I'm trying to reach for that prize. And just for anybody who's played sports for, an award or a title or whatever the case may be, don't matter what's before you, you trying to get to that thing. You gonna work, twice as hard as the next man to try to make yourself better. So, you can try to get to that prize, that championship, or whatever the case may be. So, how much more this right here, this inheritance that is laid up for us. Again, our names are written in the book of life. They're already written in the book of life. But if we turn ourselves away from the Most High, your name can be etched out. Your name can be blotted out. So we have to keep pressing. We have to keep pressing. We have to keep pressing. I'm gonna be sounding like, those trainers. You know what I mean? When you feel you can't get that last rep up. Like, come on, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Come on, push. That's what we should be to one another. We spoke about not forsaking the assembly, not forsaking the gathering of the brethren. We can't. Because Hasatan goes about as a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. And when you know that, the nature of that beast and those predators, they go about seeking the animal that's alone and or sick, the one that's kind of what's the word I'm looking for? They kind of separated themselves from the rest of the flock.
The
And those are the ones
vulnerable.
Say that again, out.
Vulnerable.
Yes, thank you. Okay, they separated themselves from the rest of the flock, and those are the ones that usually get got. So honestly, me personally, no matter how I'm feeling or whatever, I look to press to be in the midst of the mashapachah, which is the lashawan, the Hebrew for the family. I want to be in the midst of the congregation. I want to be in the midst of the assembly. And that's why I ask for comments and questions and things like that, because we feed off each other. Iron sharpens iron. Just man sharpens man. Iron sharpens iron. And that's why we gather. Not just on pagan Saturdays or any other time. Feast days, all of these things. This is why we gather, to help build one another up and to edify one another, to help each other out. Someone's on my mind. I'm calling them to see how they're doing, or just checking up on them and make sure they're good. Because we know it's hard. Like, I'm not just talking to be talking. I've gone through many things, seen many things, still going through things, and I know it's not easy. I'm not trying to make it sound like it's easy. I know it's not, because we deal with our own issues and have dealt with our own issues. But I also know where the Most High has brought us from. This thing is very real for me. I know where the Most High has brought me from. Okay? I have seen death. The Most High has brought me from death, literally. Brought me from death. Brought me through all types of, brought me through sickness, pain. All praise to the Most High. For y'all that know me, the Most High is strengthening me now to where I'm not walking with the cane. Does it hurt? Absolutely. But I'm pressing. I'm pressing. And not bigging myself up, but this is where we need to be. We have to press through. We have to press through the pains. We have to press through the disappointments. We have to press through, because I'm telling you right now, there may be a time of respite, but the enemy is an accuser of the brethren. He's going to continue to throw things at us. He wants you to fall. The old adage, misery loves company. His end is the lake of fire. Misery loves company. So if he can get you to fall, if he can get you to curse the Most High, we know the story of YAH, of Job. If he can get you to curse the Most High, he's happy. He's joyful. We have to continue to press, and we cannot forego the word of the Most High. So again, this psalm, I believe personally, is a template of what we should make is our daily living. I mean, not just this psalm, of course, we know the word, but this psalm just, I don't know, encapsulates a lot for me. So Psalm 1. And I'm going to read the whole thing. It's only 5 verses. No, 6 verses, I think. Yeah, 6 verses. Psalm 1. Of course, I'm reading out Septuagint. Says, blessed, or the Hebrew word is a shar, happy or respected, right? Blessed is the man who has not walked in the counsel of the ungodly, and has not stood in the way of sinners, and has not sat in the seat of evil men, but his pleasure is in what? The instructions of YAH. His pleasure is in the law of YAH. His pleasure is in the instructions of YAH, the word of the Most High. And in his instructions and in the Most High's word, will he do what? Meditate day and night, meaning he will read these things and he will speak these things unto himself. He will read and speak these things unto his family. His pleasure, says his pleasure is in the instruction of Yah. And in his instruction, in that instruction, in the word of the Most High, will he meditate day and night. I'm not letting up. Day and night, the Most High's word will be with me. The Most High's word will be spoken with me. I can't put that to the side. Verse 3. And he shall be as a tree planted by the brooks of waters, which shall yield its fruit in its season, and its leaf shall not fall off. So it should be like that tree that's planted by these waters, constantly being nourished. Constantly being nourished. Because you've made the instructions of the Most High your pleasure. Your pleasure. And his leaf shall not fall off, and whatsoever he shall do shall be prospered. Whatsoever he shall do shall be prospered. Okay, again, some may look and say, well, you know what? There's some things going on in my life. Don't look like I'm prospering. Some things happening right with me right now. Don't look like I'm prospering. I'm trying to keep. Listen. Keeping the ways of the Most High is Yasharal or whomever cleaves. Keeping the ways of the Most High is we're not doing it to. It's like a child who does something just to get a lollipop or or to get a toy, or we're not doing it for that. We do it because it is a way of life. It is our lifestyle. It is our culture. Yes, the Most High has promises and an inheritance laid up for us. We know that. We know the hope of it, and that's what we look to the to the end of the thing and to the things that are spiritual, right? But I'm not doing something just to, get a prize for right now, or I don't know how to explain it. I'm doing it because this is what I'm supposed to do as a child of the Most High.
And the landing back on that too is just the simple fact that we honor and revere and we love him. You know what I'm saying? And then when in the reflection of our love for him should reflect to how we love each other.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? I got this real quick precept is Romans 13. I'm gonna start at verse 8.
Romans 13:8, starting at verse 8.
And then I got another precept with this too.
Okay. All right. You got it.
And another one after the other one. Owe no one anything except to love each other. For the one who loves another has fulfilled the law. For the commandments, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not murder, you shall not steal, you shall not covet, or and any other commandment are summed up in these words: you shall love your neighbor as yourself. Love does no wrong to a neighbor. Therefore, love is fulfilling the law. And then the next precept I got is Matthew chapter 22.
Matthew 22. Where
And
you at?
starting,
37.
I'm gonna start at verse 36.
Gotcha.
Teacher, which is the great commandment in the law and the instruction? And he said to him, you shall love Yah, your power, with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. This is the great and the first commandment. And the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments depend all the law and the prophets.
Con.
And then the last one I got, we all know this, is Ecclesiastes 12 and 13.
Got that. Praises. You got it. You got it.
And this is just the whole meaning of our existence. The end of the matter, the end of the matter, all has been heard. Fear the Most High and keep His commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. And that's the thing. Is like we our priority should be loving Him, fearing Him, reverencing Him. You know what I'm saying? Because that's our main purpose. That's our main function of why we're on this earth today. And if we aren't prioritizing Him, you know what I'm saying, everything else is out of whack. That was Dawad, King Dawad. He had his priority was the Most High. Yahushua, son of Nun, his priority was the Most High. Before a lot of their major moves, you know what I'm saying, they sought the Most High.
Sought the Most
And
High.
whenever
That's
they
right.
failed, and whenever they had moments of falling into temptation, it's because they weren't seeking the Most High. You know what I'm saying? So whenever we prioritize Abba Yah, everything else will fall in place with how it's supposed to fall in place according to His will.
Con. All praises for that. To all the art. Appreciate you, man. I mean, it is what it is. It's right there. It is right there. So just to finish off Psalm 1. Oh, Romans 8, 38 to 9, 39. Romans 8, 8, 38 to 39. Oh, all praises. Yes, this is my favorite too. Actually, I'm gonna start Romans 8. I'm gonna start at 35. Romans 8. Start at 35 to 39. Went to all the art for that. It says,
Yeah,
"Who shall separate?" Oh,
I
go ahead,
thought you were
Art. Go
gonna
ahead.
end it with that one.
Oh, no
All
doubt,
right.
no doubt. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, this is good. I love this also, man. Um, says starting at verse 35, Romans 8. Who shall separate us from the love of Mashiach? Okay, who shall separate us from the love of Mashiach? Shall tribulation, or distress, or persecution, or famine, or nakedness, or danger, or sword? As it is written, for your sake, we are being killed all the day long. We are regarded as sheep to be slaughtered. I think that's what Psalm 44:22, and you can also look at Baruch 4, verse 26. As it is written, for your sake, we are being killed all the day long. We are regarded as sheep to be slaughtered. Verse 37. No, in all these things, we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. For I am sure that neither death nor life, nor angels, nor rulers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor powers, nor height, nor depth, nor anything else in all creation will be able to separate us from the love of the Most High in Mashiach Yahushai, our Adonai, our Master. At least it shouldn't, right? At least it shouldn't. If we truly love and we revere the Most High, these things shouldn't, right? No matter how hard it is, and again, I know it gets tough, it gets hard, it gets hard. That's where we need to run to the Most High even more. Don't separate yourself, don't isolate yourself. Run to Him even more, pray more, praise more, get into the text even more. Get around people who are living this thing, who are walking this thing out, right? Don't isolate. That's the worst thing you could do. It's the worst thing you could do. And allow Hasatan to get up on your head and start, telling you all types of craziness. No, man, that's the worst thing you could do. Like I said, I'm speaking from experience. I'm not just talking out the side of my neck. Okay, brother has been through it. Okay, been through it. And in my mind, there's times where how you want to say, you know what, the excuses, the hell with it, you know what I mean. But then I reeled myself back, and I honestly had to go here and examine myself. This is why this is there. All praises to the Most High. Like I said, before I can bring anything out, Most High deals with me. He deals with me. And if I ain't, if I ain't up to par, then X all that out. He deals with me. So I had many times and still continually, I'm examining myself to make sure I'm good with the Most High. Make sure I'm walking this thing out. Making sure I'm not in error again, because I don't want to cause anyone else to be in error. Yeah, the text tells us to work out your own soul salvation with fear and trembling, right? Okay, because why? The individual is one part of the nation. So the individual has to be good in order for the nation to be good. We see that in the text when one individual caused a whole lot of damage within the nation, causing people to die. So again, we're not individualized in this thing. You may go through things on an individual basis because we are scattered. We're not together. We're not, with each other. We're scattered. So we have individual lives and things of that nature, that we're dealing with. However, the things you deal with are not just your own. The text in 2 Corinthians chapter 4 is talking about there's many afflictions that are accomplished in your, with your brethren in the world. So it may seem like you're on an island by yourself, but you're really not. You're really not. And Most High is trying to strengthen you and make you a better soldier, make you a better warrior in this thing, so that when you get with the soldiers and the warriors, we'll all be good. Because think about it. You have this wall, one vulnerability in the wall, and the wall is coming down. They're going to exploit that vulnerability, and the wall's going to come down. We don't want to be that weakness. I don't. I don't want to be that weakness. I really, really don't. I don't want to be that weakness. Let's continue on. Psalm 1. Again, all praises for those scripts. Akim, all praises, brothers. So again, blessed is the man, Ashar, happy, respected is the man who has not walked in the counsel of the ungodly, has not stood in the way of sinners, and has not sat in the seat of evil men, but his pleasure is in the instructions of YAH, and in his instructions will he meditate day and night. And he shall be as a tree planted by the brooks of waters, which shall yield its fruit in its season, and its leaf shall not fall off. And whatever he shall do shall be prospered. Okay? And again, we're looking at, we can't look at the tangible things before. Whatever you shall do shall be prospered. We have to look long term, right? Long term. The Most High is really doing with us, right? I can never remember that scripture. But all right, let's move on. Verse 4. Not so the ungodly, not so, but rather as the chaff which the wind scatters away from the face of the earth. Therefore the ungodly shall not rise in judgment, they shall not stand in judgment, nor sinners in the counsel of the just. For Yah knows the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. So I always say this, that template of what we should be doing, not chilling with, those who continue to go against the things of the Most High, not keeping. I know we have to work amongst people and all of these things, but again, if the conversations are not, conversations are not edifying, if the atmosphere is not edifying, it's not conducive to righteousness, it's not conducive to the pleasurable things that align themselves with the Most High, then we need to remove ourselves. I hope I said that correctly. All praises. Deuteronomy 8 and 3. Deuteronomy 8 and 3. I'm going to go through this kind of quick. Deuteronomy 8 and 3. Again, for people who say that, the word is not enough. Deuteronomy 8 and 3. And Moshe is bringing forth the words of life to the congregation, to the assembly in the wilderness. Deuteronomy 8 and 3, and he says, and he afflicted you and straightened you. Well, you know what? Let me just start at 1. Hold on. Hold on a second. Deuteronomy 8. I'll just start at 1, but emphasis on verse 3. Okay? And the subheading says, remember YAH, your power. Okay, starting verse 1. You shall observe to do all the commands which I charge you today, that you may what? Live and be multiplied and enter in and inherit the land which YAH, your power, your Elohim, swear to give to your fathers. And you shall remember all the way which YAH, your power, led you in the wilderness, that he might afflict you and try you, and that the things in your heart might be made manifest, whether you would keep his commands or no. So again, we're being tested and tried. And again, think about that scripture in Sirach chapter 2. When you come to the Most High, prepare your soul for testing. Right? And that the thing, and so these things might be made manifest, whether you would keep his commands or no. Verse 3, and he afflicted you and straitened you with hunger and fed you with manna, which your fathers knew not, that he might teach you that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of the Most High shall man live. We cannot live without the word of the Most High. We cannot. You cannot live. If you want to be apart from the Most High or live not according to the Most High's words, you are in dysfunction. You are in dysfunction. I know my man Danny brings it up a lot, with the words of the English words we have, good and evil. No, it's the wab and rye. It's, function and dysfunction. When the Most High created, the Aratas, the earth, and he said, these things were good. He said they're functional. They are functional. And so what's the opposite of things that are functional? Dysfunctional. And that's what that is. So he afflicted you, strained you with hunger, and fed you with manna, which your fathers knew not, that he might teach you that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of the Most High shall a man live. Again, if you're not living by the words of the Most High, if you have thrown the Most High's words away for whatever reason, you are now living in dysfunction. We just read in 1 Timothy chapter 6, if a man teaches any other doctrine or is not living by, the words of the Most High, right? That man is what? Dysfunctional. He's dysfunctional. Hence the world we live in. It's what? Dysfunctional right now. Because why? The foolish are on top, and the people of the Most High that were supposed to be on top are now at the bottom because of the disobedience to the Most High. And it's not me saying it. The script says it. He's going to give us over to a what? A foolish nation. Is what it is. Psalm 119, verse 165. Psalm 119, verse 165, another one of my favorites. This is Psalm 118 in the Septuagint. Psalm 119, verse 165. Reads, great peace, great shalom have they that love your instructions, and there is no stumbling block to them. Great shalom, or great peace have they that love your instruction, and there is no stumbling block to them. This is Malak Dawad. This is King David writing these things. Okay? You have a great shalom, not just any shalom or peace, great shalom. When you love the Most High's word, and there is no stumbling block to them. So whatever stumbling block, you already know what it is. The Most High is giving you the knowledge, and he's giving you the understanding, and he's imparting unto you the wisdom to be able to see the adversity, see the stumbling block, act accordingly, according to to what has been given you, and endure. And endure. Get over it. All right? So this part I always call the gems of Sirach. Because Sirach, we have some nice gems. Gems of Sirach. I'm going to go through it quickly. Sirach 1, 26 and 27. And this is what we do, fam. This is what we do. You know, again, when you know, in tough times, or just in our daily lives, man, just just read this, just meditate in the word, speak it to yourself, go over it. This is why, you'll hear these scriptures. We live by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of the Most High. And so he's revealing these things to us. He's giving these things to us so that we may live, so that when times of testing or times of adversity come, we can feel okay. You know what I mean? It may hurt, it may sting, you may go through some things. But our fathers and forefathers went through these things too. They lived, but again, their minds, their hearts weren't set on this construct. They weren't set. They weren't looking at the tangible things before them. They were looking long term. They were in the spiritual. Hey, this ain't my home. This ain't my stay. We know what the text says. The Mashiach, the Most High is going to send the Mashiach. He's going to send, with the Malach, with the angels, to come rescue us and gather us up from all of these places where we're held captive, and we're going to, get a chance in the wilderness to be passed under that rod and go into and live in the kingdom with the Most High forever. That's where the focus is. That's where the focus is. So the gems of Sirach. Sirach 1, 26 and 27. If you desire wisdom, do what? Keep the commandments. If you desire wisdom, keep the commandments. Say again? It's 25? Oh, it's 26 in this one. That's why. So what is it? It's 20. So then like this is 25, 26. But the numbering is different, but you'll see what it says. If you desire wisdom, keep the commandments, and YAH shall give it unto you. And again, Sirach, Ecclesiasticus is in the Apocrypha, is part of the Torah and the Tanakh. It is in the Apocrypha, and it's one of the hidden books that were taken out of the text. They were removed from the text. But thanks be to the Most High, he's unveiling a lot of things, and just like the text tells you, there's nothing hidden that shall not be made manifest, that shall not be made known. So he's making these things known to us. Those things that were removed are now being made known to us. So again, if you desire wisdom, keep the commandments, and YAH shall give it unto you. For the fear of YAH is wisdom and instruction, and faith and meekness are his delight. Sirach chapter 2, 15 and 16. At least that's what the numbering is for me. Sirach chapter 2, 15 and 16. They that fear YAH will not disobey his word. They that fear YAH will not disobey his word. And they that love him will keep his ways. They that fear YAH will seek that which is well pleasing unto him, not yourself. It says, they that fear YAH will seek that which is well pleasing unto him. You want to align yourself with him. Abba, I want to enjoy what you enjoy, and I want to abhor what it is you abhor.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, man. Not trying to cut you off, but I know there's a large group of people that say, the Bible. I'm not going to use the word outdated, but that you can't exactly get the gems from the Bible to apply in the way we live today. And I think that's exactly what, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding is. If you can go to the text and get what you need to survive today, then you fully understand it.
God.
But if you can't, and you got to go, I'm trying to think of how to say it, but not that you got to go elsewhere, but if it ain't your primary source, then it's a show of your spiritual level. You should be able to go to the text. You should be able to go to the text and get the things you need to survive this round.
Everything you need. Text, I think it's Peter. I think it's in Peter. He says he's given us everything pertaining unto life and godliness. Everything. So, like C Love said, we should be able to go to the text and get whatever it is we need. He's given us, again, the text, he desires for none of us to perish, and he's not going to put a stumbling block for you to fall. So you should be able to get everything you need. Everything you need. And you have the spirit of the Most High to be able to guide you. All praises. So
Yeah,
I
because
appreciate that.
we all know, man. We all know we can read the same verse 1,000 times, depending on what we go through in life, and get more strength from that same verse. Every time you go to Genesis, you read something new. The Spirit could guide you to read. I'm just making up something, but First Timothy 4, in 2022, and when you read it again in 2025 with the new set of eyes you got, now you understand what you need to do. But
God.
it's constantly going back to the word instead of making that. I think it's just me opinionated, but I think it's not a good excuse. I think it's a bad excuse to say, the word isn't gonna propel me today, because the spirit can guide you to get what you need from the word. That's why I said you can go to the same verse and get more from it.
All praises. And again, you may read something today, like you said, you may read something today, not have the understanding. The Most High hasn't downloaded the understanding right then and there, but there could be a time, maybe a few weeks or a year or two from now. Hold on, now you're dealing with a certain situation, and you go back and you read that same verses you didn't understand then, and now the Most High downloads that understanding to you, and now you understand why you had to go through this, or why you have to deal with this, or why the situation before you is the way it is. It it's a living word. It's
Yeah, yeah.
living.
Because you hadn't necessarily been through that test yet. Yah is leading
Right.
you through the valley. Like, what it said, day by day, he's leading you down a path. You might not have been through that test yet to get them tools. But when the
That's it.
time comes, you know where to go.
That way to go. All praises, giving us everything pertaining unto life and godliness. All praises. Yes, absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I love what you guys said about living word, and you guys are both absolutely right, because as we live, the word starts evolving in our lives, man, and it becomes, sort of the path for us, to be honest with you. But there's that part where it says there's nothing new under the sun is
Yeah,
real.
nothing
So
new under the
Mm-hmm.
sun. That's it. That's how all our forefathers made their way. The ones that did what was right in the sight of the Most High. That's how all of them made their way. The ones that departed from the word of the Most High, the ones that departed from His covering, are the ones that got jacked up, or the ones that caused Yasharal to be in the place that we are now. Right? So why in the world would we right now want to depart from that? You have think about this. You have even the nations have set up things, according to the text. They have things set up. They mention the text. They're not going to follow it, but they mention the text. They have things set up, like the courtrooms and all of these things. Basically like the tabernacle, the tabernacles and the inner rooms and the. I mean, come on. If it's not real, how is all this? How are they even doing things in life? They're copying it. They don't necessarily believe, but they're copying. They must know something. They're not following it, but I mean, but you see what it even says about the demons, right? The demons what? Believe and tremble. The demons believe and tremble. So again, we say it goes beyond just believing. We have to live it. We have to live it. We have to live it.
Yeah, man, I think that that's a key point, that we all that everybody's saying, but just, even striking me is, that nothing new under the sun. So how can
Mm-hmm.
somebody say that you can't get what you need from the text? Because
Yeah,
Yah is giving you a something to use when you need it.
that's it. That's it. You just meditate, and it's like we always say, I may not, I may not be able to tell you exactly where the text is or whatever, but trust me that it's there. Like I can tell you the text. I may not tell you exactly where it is, but it's there. It's there. I'm making it my sole duty to get it, to meditate and to speak it, you know, into my being, to speak it over my family, to speak that life. In the text is life. It's life. Matter of fact, let me just go there real quick. What's that? What does it say?
She said, I keep being led back to Daniel 10, and I think it's because it's showing me the process of revelation. Daniel didn't get an instant answer. He had to wait, pray, and be strengthened by Yah's messenger. In the same way, I feel like the Most High is showing me that his timing is perfect and it's not random. It's preparation. He's training me to listen, to be patient, and to understand the behind the scenes spiritual battles I'm going. And it's giving me a lot of peace. Shalom.
All praises. All praises. And honestly, that's what it is. That's why you have text. There's a few times in the text where it says to wait patiently on the Most High. Wait patiently on the Most High. The Most High is grooming us. He's showing us some things. And thank you for that, Jay Lane. Appreciate that. And that's exactly what he's doing. He's grooming us. He's there's a great vocation, this great job for Yasharal to do. Right. This is I keep saying it. You have to be groomed for it. You can't just, wake up one day and say, yep, I'm ready for this battle. No, you're not. Trust me, you're not ready for this battle. Trust me. We have to go through some things, and the Most High is preparing us for what's to come. Just the next test. And we just have to wait patiently and allow the Most High to work. We have to just, stand upright and just allow the Most High to work. Like I said, it's not the easiest thing to do. It really isn't. It really isn't. I mean, you think, I think about myself. I mean, you think at 20 years old, I'm in the prime of my life. I'm playing sports. I'm out there doing my thing with the music and going to school, all doing all these things at the same time. And then in the middle of all of that, I get struck with some crazy thing I never even heard of, and I get paralyzed. And I'm laid up, can't speak, can't close my eyes, can't move anything from head to toe, can't do nothing. 20 years old. Okay, 20 years old. I have at the time I didn't know it, but child on the way, all of these things, and questioning in my head, why me? And then the road, the get back, you know what I mean? Just being frustrated and all of these things. I mean, again, we're going to go through all of these emotions, just like the text tells you, be angry, but sin not. So even again, you're testing in the time of the trial. I'm not saying you can't have emotion. No, no one's saying that. Yeah, there's gonna be times where you're crying and you be angry or go through, but sin not. Let me get that. Man, Dan put in Hebrews 4:12. Hebrews 4:12. Hebrews 4:12. I think I know what that says.
Yeah, and while you're looking for that, man, sometimes, it's important to keep the nation in mind because it's always about the nation. Sometimes, The wisdom you're acquiring by the testing that you're going through is so that you can impart it on a brother. It
That's
ain't
it.
even about you, but you sitting there asking the
That's
Most
it.
High, why me? But he needs you. He needs you because somebody gonna cross your path.
That's it.
So you
That's
going
exactly
through it
it.
because you equipped to go through it because he didn't gave you the spirit and the strength to go through it, and you going through it so that the next person that come around, you equipped to be a light to.
Come on.
But while we in the midst of it, a lot of times we complain.
That's it. Yeah, we complaining, and I'll be the first one to say, "Yep." In the midst, I was complaining like a mug, bruh. You know what I mean? I was complaining like a mug, but at the end of the day, when you look back, you have the opportunity to look back. The Most High does show you, and I always say, me personally, I'd rather get advice from someone that has been through what it is I'm seeking, right? I'd rather get advice. I don't want to get like if you're telling me how to raise a child and you've never had a child on your own, stop. I'm not trying to hear that. But anyway, Hebrews 4, all praise for that. Hebrews 4, what was that, verse 12? Yep. Hebrews 4, verse 12. For the word of the Most High is living. There it is. For the word of the Most High is living and active, sharper than any two-edged sword, and piercing to the division of soul and of spirit, of joints and of marrow, and discerning, listen to this, and discerning the thoughts and intentions of what? The heart.
That's why it's
Discerning,
living. You're not reading the word. The word is reading you.
it's reading you. But you know what, unfortunately, some people don't want to be read.
That's right.
You
Mm.
know what I mean? That's what
because
it is.
they don't want the accountability of admitting their own faults.
There it
You know
is.
what I'm saying? They old junk. They love sin. They
That's it.
love iniquity. They love the dysfunctionality of themselves. And
That's it.
whenever functionality and whenever righteousness is presented towards them, you know what I'm saying? They buck up against it. They love darkness. They hate light.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And oftentimes it's unknowingly, and they're
Mm-hmm.
thinking that the darkness that they're walking in is a light, but it's a false light that's leading them to the death. You know what I'm saying?
We said read verse 13. Oh, it down to read verse 13. So I'll read 12 again, then I'll read 13. Hebrews 4. For the word of the Most High is living and active, sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing to the division of soul and of spirit, of joints and of marrow, and discerning the thoughts and intentions of the heart. Verse 13. And no creature is hidden from his sight. But all are naked and exposed to the eyes of him to whom we must give account. What's that text in Sirach that says his eyes are 10 times brighter? Was it 10 times brighter than the sun?
Yeah, that's
Or
20.
10
I think.
or 10,000 times brighter than the sun, something like that.
I think it's
And
20.
nothing, which was it? Sirach, which one?
I think it's 23.
23, right?
Uh,
There's nothing hidden from him. That's why, even David in Psalm 51 says he desires truth on the inward part. You can't hide anything from him anyway. You might as well lay yourself there, bare before him. Like, and Danny said, the word is reading you.
But to land me back on what Jamie Lynn had said, James chapter 1, verse 2,
James 1,
yeah, starting at verse 2.
James chapter 1, starting at verse 2.
Yeah, I probably go,
Con.
yeah, maybe go to 8, but the emphasis is really 2 to 4 in
Okay.
chapter 1. Yeah.
Okay. 2 to 8. All right, so James chapter 1, verses 2 to 8. And again, we brought this up. We brought this up in the study, right? You can look at verse 1 and see who James is writing this to. Right? Just look at verse 1 and see who James is writing this to the 12 tribes in the dispersion. Okay? So verse 2, count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds. For you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness. And let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. And look how the Spirit works, because I believe we read this Sunday past in the study. I think so. Let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. Verse 5. If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask the Most High, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given him. But let him ask in faith with no doubting, for the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea that is driven and tossed by the wind. For that person must not suppose that he will receive anything from Yah. He is a double-minded man, unstable in all his ways. And again, it starts off with count it all joy when you meet trials. Count it all joy. So again, it's not having the mindset of the world, because the world, if you going through something, it's not whatever. Man, I got a dark cloud hanging over me, man. I'm ready to curse everybody out, and I'm ready to just make everybody miserable along with me, and but the text, count it all joy. Count it all joy. Wasn't that text in Acts where Paul was in prison and he was praising? He was praising in prison. I mean, we know we can't make this. Like I said, if I wasn't in a position of going through, I know I wouldn't be able to bring any of this out. And am I perfect? Absolutely not. Do I? Is there times where I just kind of just throw up my hands and be like, can't deal with this? Absolutely. But right after that, I may get a moment to myself, or I may go off and I'm talking to the Father, and I reel myself back. I have to reel myself back. I have no choice. I have to reel myself back. There is nothing out there apart from the word of the Most High. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Trust me, trust me, trust me. I have been in the world. I, made my bed in the world, did all types of craziness. There is nothing in the world. There's nothing there. I have found, fulfillment in, not only knowing who I am, but whose I am. And it's beautiful. And I can't see myself. I can't see myself turning back from the most. I really can't. And if I do, I always say, I give myself a month, if that, at best. I really do. I say that all the time. I give myself a month at best. There's nothing back there for me at all.
You brought up when Paul was
Speak
in
up, speak up.
prison, he was praising, right?
Right.
Wasn't that, and when that happened, when they were in prison, didn't the Most High open up the
I
door?
believe so. I think the prison walls started to shake and things like that, and
And
it
they
shook the
were
shackles off, I believe. Yeah.
So
Yep.
in praise, there's what, like relief. There's he can help you.
It was the joy of the most, like Nehemiah, which we just read. The joy of the Most High is our strength, right? The joy of the Most High is our strength, and just sometimes just turning on some praise or whatever, it strengthens you. Being around the brethren, it strengthens you. Getting in the text and allowing the Most High to reveal this text to you, like C Love was talking about earlier, it strengthens you. It strengthens you. And just even the comment Jay Malin made, the Most High, just trying to do a work in us, teaching us patience so that he can do a work in us. We don't know, no man knows the day nor the hour when the Son of Man comes. So we're just here, occupying until he comes, rehearsing the righteous acts till he comes. There's going to be struggle. There's going to be adversity, but do not leave the way. Do not leave the way. The way leads to life. We haven't experienced life yet. The way, keeping the words of the Most High, keeping the way, it leads to life. That's where we want to get to. Let me start wrapping this up, because I can get on this. I can be on this all day. Where do I want to go? Well, I'm gonna end off with this. So we know Exodus 32, right? Um, Exodus 32. Let's go there real quick. Exodus 32, 25 to 29. I think that the point has been made. Exodus 32. Yep, 25 to 29. This is right after the golden calf, and I'm bringing this up because we speak about what's coming, right? The second Exodus, what's coming, because we know that we're in the lands of our captors, we're in the lands of our enemies. There's a time coming when the Most High is going to send Yahushua. He speaks about it in Matthew 24 and Luke 21. He's going to come with his angels, and he's going to gather up his elect from the four corners of the earth, right? And again, I always say that the wilderness is not the end. The wilderness is that place of separation. It's a place of separation, just like it was back when our forefathers, when Moshe and Moses and them came out of Egypt, and they were in the wilderness before they got into the promised land. And and this is just me. I believe it's going to be something like this. That separation. And we know there's many things that happen, right? There's many things that happen, but this you'll see it. You'll see it when we go there. So Exodus 32, what does it say? 25 to 29. This is right after the golden calf situation. It says, and when Moses saw that the people were scattered, for Aaron had scattered them so as to be a rejoicing to their enemies, then stood Moses at the gate of the camp and said, who is on YAH's side? Let him come to me. Then all the sons of Levi came to him. Verse 27. And he says to them, this says Yah Elohim of Yashara'al. Okay, or the power of Yashara'al. Put everyone his sword on his thigh and go through and return from gate to gate through the camp and slay everyone his brother and everyone his neighbor and everyone him that is nearest to him. And the sons of Levi did as Moshe spoke to them, and there fell of the people in that day to the number of 3,000 men. And Moshe said to them, you have filled your hands this day to Yah, each one on his son or on his brother, so that blessing should be given to you. All right. So let's go from there. So we see that, of course, Yasharal sinned. They built this golden calf. Moses said, yo, who's on Yah's side? Who's on Yah's side? And the sons of Levi came over, swords in hand, and they went through the camp and started doing work. It's just 3,000 people, well, that was like men, right? Besides women and children, I think, died.
Without hesitation.
Without hesitation, not without hesitation. Who's on the Most High side? Without hesitation, like you said. So let's go now to Ezekiel 20. Ezekiel 20. 1 second. Ezekiel 20. Starting at verse 33. Okay, subheading is what? Judgment and restoration. So we just read where, Moshe said, who's on y'all side, right? And Levites came over, boom, 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 told me, grab your sword and let's get it and start, just doing work. Okay. Those who are not with the Most High, you're going to die. All right. So Ezekiel 20, 33 to 38. Says, therefore, as I live, says Yah, I will reign over you with a strong hand and with a high arm and with outpoured wrath. I will bring you out from the nations and will take you out of the lands wherein you were dispersed. Okay. So remember, we just read in James to the 12 tribes in the dispersion. All right. So verse 34, I will bring you out from the nations and I will take you out of the lands wherein you were dispersed with a strong hand and with a high arm and with outpoured wrath. Verse 35, and I will bring you into the wilderness of the nations and will and we'll plead with you there face to face. So the Most High gonna be there. He gonna plead with us. He gonna speak to us. Right? He's gonna speak to us. He's gonna make things known. And that's why we always say there's no need for us to be going about, debating and arguing over, the name and this and that and the clothing and all of these other things. Because the Most High is gonna make all this, he's gonna set everything right when we get up in that wilderness. Trust me, he's gonna make sure everything is copacetic, everything is good before anybody walks that way of righteousness. Okay, we gonna know what's up. Trust me. Go ahead, Op.
Nah, I'm with you now. That's a judgment marker. He like, you're gonna have to look me in the eye.
There it is.
Face to face. He like, man, I'm gonna plead with you. That's a judgment marker. You're gonna have to look me in the face for this.
Yep. You gonna know who you standing for. You gonna know. All right. Verse 35. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the nations. Will plead with you there face to face, as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt. So will I judge you, says Yah. And I will cause you to pass under my rod, and I will bring you in by number. And I will separate from among you the ungodly and the revolters. For I will lead them forth out of their place of sojourning, and they shall not enter into the land of Yasharal, and you shall know that I am Yah, even Yah. So again, there's going to be a separation there, right? Separation there. I will separate from among you. So the Most High going to plead with us face to face. He going to set everything right. He going to make sure you know beyond shadow of doubt what the instructions are and all of these things. He's going to make everything copacetic. You going to know, and you going to know that who you are standing before, right? So now, from there, let's go Amos 9. And I'm concentrating on this separation thing here. Amos 9. Amos 9. Amos 9, 8 through 10. 8 through 10. And so we remember when Moshe was separating with the Levites and the whole 9 yards, they're separating with the sword, cutting asunder, separating the sin from Yasharal. Right? The Most High says he brings us out into the wilderness. He's going to separate the from us the rebels and all of those revolters, those that are not keeping the ways of the Most High. Right? Because that's it right there. That wilderness, the second Exodus. That's it. There's nothing else after that. So we separating all the rebels, anything that is not of the Most High, anybody who don't want to keep his word, anybody. That's it. Because after that, those who do, you're going to go into the kingdom. You're going to walk in the way of righteousness. So that's it. Second Exodus. That's why I would say we need to get it now. This is the dress rehearsal. We need to get this joint now. Don't wait. Get it now. But Amos 9, 8 through 10. Amos 9, 8 through 10. Behold, the eyes of Yah, Elohim, the eyes of Yah, your power, are upon the kingdom of sinners. And I will cut it off from the face of the Aratas, from the face of the earth. Only I will not utterly cut off the house of Yaquab or Jacob, says Yah. For I will give commandment and sift the house of Yasharal among all the Gentiles, among all the nations, as corn is sifted in a sieve. And yet a fragment shall not in any wise fall upon the Aratas, fall upon the earth. So I'm going to sift Yasharal. Okay, from wherever they are scattered in the world, I'm going to gather them up. And he said, not one of them shall fall to the earth. I'm getting them all. I'm getting them all. I think in Timothy, he says, the Most High knows who's of his. I'm getting them all. And yet a fragment shall not in any wise fall upon the earth. Verse 10, all the sinners of my people shall what? Die by what? The sword. Who say, calamity shall certainly not draw near nor come upon us. All the sinners of my people shall die by the sword. So that's why I read through what Masha did in, first, that first, mess up that our people really did as far as building an idol. And I came through all of this. So Again, there is nothing apart from the word of the Most High. There is nothing that we can do apart from the word of the Most High. If we say we love the Most High, we have to keep his precepts. We, the, the, the text, the word, and the Most High, they have to be enough. If they are not enough, you will fall into dysfunction. You will fall into dysfunction. Like Danny said when we read the precept in Hebrews, the word is reading you. And you have to allow it to read you. You have to allow it to do its work, to examine. Make sure that you have good ground to not just receive the word, but produce fruit. Exactly. There's a pruning away. There's a pruning process. No, we've come up in darkness. We've been born in darkness. And the Most High and Most High wants to cut away any areas that will any areas of darkness, right? So that that light that is within you can come out. That's what's happening. The light that is within you, it needs to come out. So we have to prune away the darkness, and the word is doing that. We have to allow it to do that. And if we throw the word away, then you'll just remain in darkness. You'll just remain in dysfunction. And this is your end right here, what we just read. You will be separated with the sword. You will die with the sword, it says. I'm not making it up. We just read it. It says, all the sinners of my people shall die by the sword. That's that separation. So I want to end with that and say, stay the course. Stay with, don't isolate yourself, please. I know there's a lot going on. We all going through stuff. Just like the text says in 2 Corinthians 4, again, these afflictions are accomplished with our brethren in the world. It's just what it is. The text told us these things was going to happen. He told us that the devil's going to send out a flood. Told us there's going to be, many afflictions for the righteous. It tells us that. Most High didn't hide anything from us. We have to stay the course. Just like you would do in school or at work or where, if there's something, a stumbling block, or there's something, arduous before you or something hard before you, you press through that thing because you're going to get a paycheck or you're going to get an award. How much better is our reward, in the kingdom? How much better is it? How much better is it? So press, encourage yourself, encourage your brethren, encourage your sisters, encourage one another so that we can, pass under that rod, so we can, make Abba proud. All praises. So I yield. Any questions, comments, concerns? Anyone with anything? Any questions, comments, concerns? Speak now, forever hold your peace. No, I'm gonna stop playing. All praise. Okay, I pray this study has been edifying for someone, and just pray the Most High just continues to barak us, with His Spirit to continue on, to be strengthened and to find joy in Him, to find our confidence in Him, to find out everything in Him, and pray that we all just continue to dwell in the secret place of the Most High. All praises. So with that, we're going to turn ourselves over to YAH Shalom, to Jerusalem. I'm going to pray out. Tawada Abba, Tawada Rabba Abba Yah. So grateful for all things that you have continued to bestow upon us. How you have not dealt with us according to our iniquities, how you have not given us what we deserve, Abba. You've given us a fighting chance, Abba. Again, we thank you, say Tawada Rabbah, for our kinsman redeemer, our Mashiach Yahweh Shai, his death, his burial, his resurrection, his spilt blood to atone for our sins, that we may have right to the tree of life, Abba. We say Tawada Rabbah for him, the anointing that you've given him to be able to to walk in this construct, Abba, in the midst of captivity, and yet without any iniquity, Abba, and to show us, Abba, even though we may not have the fullness of the Spirit, Abba, but you've given us enough to be able to renounce the things of this construct, renounce the things that would cause us to go astray, Father, but to continue to look to you, Father, to continue to dwell in your secret place, Father, and to continue to align ourselves, with Shemayim, align ourselves with, righteousness, Father, that, you may look upon us, Father, and our lives may be a sweet smelling savor unto your nostrils, that we can be that banner, Father, that, others will look to, and want to serve you, Father, truly in spirit and in truth, Father. So again, we say to our Rabbah for all these. We, say to our Rabbah for just being in the midst of this study. Pray someone, has been truly Barak, truly blessed by it, Father. And I pray, Father, that we continue to find our joy, our strength, our provision, our all in you, Father, not looking to anything in and of this life, Father. For, the text says, trust is the man that puts his trust in man. Accursed is the man, excuse me, that puts his trust in man and makes flesh his arm, Father. So we don't want to put our trust in anything or anyone but you, Father, for you are the one leading us to life, Father. So we just thank you. And again, I pray that we decrease, that you may be increased, that we subdue our own understanding, Father, to allow you to direct our paths, to show us what it is you would have for us to do and say even now, Father. And again, we just thank you for this study. We just thank you for the being in the midst of us, and not just here, Father, but all Yasharal who are gathering, Father. We just pray again that our people will just truly be able to discern you, to dispel the lies and the confusions and all of these things that, Hasatan would, throw our way to throw us off the path, Father. I pray again that we just truly stay the course, Father. Strengthen us where we're weak and prop us up on every leaning side, Father. Pray that you will help any unbelief if there be any, Father. And I pray that we do not allow anything to separate us from you and from your love, Father. We give you praise, we give you honor, we give you glory. And now unto you who is able to keep us from falling, who's able to present our souls faultless before your throne with exceeding joy, to the only wise, Allahayim, wise power, be glory, majesty, dominion, and power, both now and forever. In your most holy name, Manafal Mashiach Yahushai, all praises. Amen. Amen. Amen.
Aman, Aman.
Amen. All right, family. Love y'all. Pray everyone has a beautiful day in the Most High. Enjoy your day. And again, we have Chris and Trav. Their Zoom call will be at 3 Eastern. My man Danny, of course, the study is tomorrow at 11. Again, fresh manna and enough manna to go around. All praise. Love y'all, family. Shalom.
Love y'all.
Love y'all, friends. Shalom,
Shalom.
shalom, y'all. Live on.